You're listening to the Culture Junkie podcast, where we go beyond the surface of pop culture.
I'm Keith.
And I'm Xandra. Together, we dive into the craft process and passion that drive today's creators. This is the Culture Junkie podcast. Life moves fast and your insurance should too. With on-the-fly insurance, you can compare rates, customize your coverage, and get a quote in minutes. It's 100% online, 100% secure, and 100% Canadian. So whether you're on the go or planning ahead, protect what matters most with ease. Head to ontheflyinsurance.com and get protection made easy. Built for life on the fly. Links in the bio or in the show notes below.
This episode is brought to you by Dr. Jim's Computer Repair in Belleville.
Dr. Jim now offers high-quality, compatible ink cartridges online, delivered right to your door. Same print quality, far better price. Just the right ink the first time from someone you can actually talk to.
Head to drjimscomputerrepair.ca, find your printer, and start saving today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you already haven't, because we have something coming out every week on Wednesdays. Here, this week, I'm really excited to have Dug Stevenson, Executive Director and Chief Marketing Officer of the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board. So thank you so much for joining us this week, Doug.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me.
So tell me more about being the Chief Marketing Officer of the Bay of Quinte Marketing Board.
Yeah, we got this great regional partnership. It's actually pretty rare in Ontario, where you have multiple communities coming together to partner on, creating economic activity and spending and tourism activity and driving resident attraction. So we work in partnership with Brighton, Quinte West, Belleville, Mohawks, the Bay of Quinte, and Greater Napanee. And basically our job is those communities provide us with funding, and our mandate is to try to attract tourists and try to attract residents.
And just let people know what's going on in the area.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. And, we were talking about that a little bit offline. At the end of the day, we get a couple of million visitors through this place every year. And a lot of folks might be surprised to know, when we look at historical data, almost half of those people stay on your couch, stay, in your guest bedroom. And so it's this funny world of, you got to put your dollars out there to attract the GTA, Montreal, Ottawa, Quebec, Northeastern United States. But you also got to spend money and time to develop and create and distribute content locally.
Yeah.
Because our residents here are our biggest champions.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody comes and stays at your place and you go, oh, well, this place sucks and there's nothing to do, they're not spending money and they're sure not coming back.
Yeah.
And so we play a couple of different roles in terms of that.
I know that I've talked to a lot of people in and around the Toronto area myself, and just anecdotal, they say, where should I go? And I said, have you considered the Bay of Quinte? And they said, where's that? And I said, well, let me tell you. And I think a lot of people in the greater Toronto area will end up going to Niagara on the lake, and they sort of go south. And so when I started saying you should consider the Bay of Quinte, there was excitement in the fact that there's some hidden gem to them that they hadn't heard about or considered. And they were like, wow, they've got wine country up here. They've got galleries, they've got art, music, and film now.
We got it all. We often hear, what is Quinte? What is this Quinte?
Really?
And it is something that a lot of folks are still discovering. We actually, one of my colleagues, Trevor Norris, and I did a presentation. There's a provincial organization called the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario. It's like a chamber of commerce for tourism destinations in the province. So we actually did a presentation last fall and joked about how, this region not that long ago was just known as a P stop on the 401.
Right.
And, people were, oh yeah, Belleville, I know that place. Yeah, there's a great gas station there, where we pulled over. But it's become a destination, and you make a good point where people are going, okay, something new. We work often with travel organizations, who book trips
Mhm.
and bring buses in and bring groups in. At some of those conferences in the last few years, they've been really excited to start to work with us as a destination because, as you said, people have come and gone to Niagara. People have been 1,000 Islands. This is a newer destination. We just got our 2025 overnight accommodations data in from CBRE, who do the national accommodations data across the country. And we're actually the top overnight accommodations destination in Southeastern Ontario. Higher than Kingston, higher than
Really?
Peterborough. People are coming here and they're coming here year round. And one of the things that we know we have, especially, is the outdoors.
Mhm.
And it's less a traditional tourism product because, like I'm looking at Zwick's Park right now, which, some people might know, some people might not. You can't transact it necessarily, right? You can't get a ticket to Zwick's Park. So it
Mhm.
isn't our outdoors isn't necessarily seen as this tourism product, but it really is.
Mhm.
People are coming here and they're staying in our hotels and they're eating in our restaurants because of the beautiful outdoors.
The actual bay has a wonderful walking path along
Yeah,
it, and it keeps
yeah.
getting extended further, the bridge, and then off into the Prince Edward County area.
The infrastructure that these communities have invested,
Mhm.
to your point, to get people on the water through something like a waterfront trail, and Quinte West has an equally strong one, and they're actually working on a project right now that will connect two of their biggest park, Centennial Park to Bain Park, through a waterfront trail. The amount of infrastructure that communities have invested is big, and it
Mhm.
it helps get people out there, and it helps get people interested in coming to a place like this.
I know that we were talking about before we got on is locals and people away coming on to your newsletter. You got
Mhm.
Facebook, you got TikTok, you got LinkedIn, and I was mentioning I was on the LinkedIn. A lot of people I find they don't give LinkedIn as much credit as perhaps it does because you might get less engagement, but you get more results, I find, from LinkedIn. And that was when I was able to find out about Victor Cooper and his film Butter Bandits and his premiere on December 18th, 2025.
Which
And
your
you guys,
mom was in?
my mother was in that, so many like, everybody
Yeah, a
from
lot of
the
locals.
local area was in it,
Yeah,
either behind the camera or in front of the camera, and we were talking about you and I were talking about earlier about how there is engagement on all of these platforms
yeah,
and the results speak for themselves and that sometimes we have to just keep putting it out there and putting it out there and letting
yeah,
people know over and over and over this is what's going on in this town and maybe the first link won't be clicked but the 10th link will be
yeah.
clicked or the
Yeah.
11th.
Yeah, I mean, we often hear from people, "Oh, I didn't even know this was happening," or, "I didn't know about this," and I'm thinking, "You gotta be living under a rock because 'cause we're putting this stuff everywhere," and to your point, you gotta hit all of these different mediums or channels, as we might call them, because everybody lives on a different channel, and they
Yes.
live on different channels at different times, and I was talking a little bit about how, something like social media, I mean, you gotta be posting multiple times a week, but something like a newsletter, people read on their own leisure, right? And
Hmm.
they get to it when they want to. So
Yeah.
it is a lot of work to try and make sure you're putting everything out across as many channels as you can to hit as many people as much as you can.
Hmm.
And, we got 5 people on our team here,
Hmm.
and 2 of them specifically, all they do is content
Yeah.
and, see different engagement across content, not just with age levels, but
Hmm.
also, like you were saying, reach. I was just reading an article this morning about LinkedIn, and it was a guy making a case for longer LinkedIn posts and how he gets more engagement from LinkedIn comments than he
Mm.
does from posts. So his strategy is to create posts and then spend more time commenting than actually creating the content.
So commenting on his own posts or
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or commenting on other
On
people's
other
posts,
people.
but making it into a longer form, almost like a post within a post as a comment. Yeah. The other piece that's so tricky is like it used to be, I started with this organization in 2013, and it used to be platforms you could grow them so quickly, especially if you spent money. Now it's
Mhm.
really hard.
Yeah.
And I was also reading this week about how TikTok's growing the fastest out of everything. Facebook's really plateauing, but it still gets great engagement.
Yep.
Instagram's somewhere in the middle. So, you gotta spend your time figuring out how you wanna divide yourself,
Yeah.
and, that's a lot of what we do here, and we actually operate a couple of different platforms. So one is bayofquinte.ca, which is our primary platform and where we're trying to drive people, especially for that
Mhm.
tourism and visitor content.
Yeah, so everybody check it out. It'll be in the in below. And what will people get from it?
Multiple products there that we create through the course of years. Every year, for example, we create the, Bay of Quinte Discovery Guide. Our Discovery Guide library is there. We have something called a digital discovery map. So bayofquinte.ca/explore. Over 700 tourism related businesses under different categories. You
Mm,
could click to search restaurants or click to search parks and find what you want to do. We have dozens upon dozens of trip ideas. We have blogs that people like yourself have written across multiple categories, like yours about heritage in the downtown Belleville core. I mean, I think you name it, we got it.
yeah.
And if you think it needs to be there and we don't have it, then you email us at info@bayofquinte.ca and we get to work trying to create it.
What about job boards?
Yeah, so the other website that we operate is called workinquinty.ca. And so our tagline until we get a cease and desist is that it's like Indeed but local. And that's the exact idea is, if you go on to a website like Indeed, there's a lot going on there. And there's a
Mhm.
lot in the employment space. And it's a bit spammy. And so what we're trying to do is, make it a bit more qualified. We got a real person operating that website, working with employers,
Amazing.
posting jobs, helping job seekers. And so, it comes with a whole other suite of social channels that we're getting stuff out on a weekly basis for that as well.
So it sounds like you're doing tourism, local businesses, and stuff for the local people to know about. So it's about projecting outward, outside of the Bay of Quinte, and also servicing people inside the Bay of Quinte. So sounds like everybody could use it.
I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, our job is to support the partners with what they're asking for, and this is what they ask us to do.
Mhm.
And so, through the course of the year, we're working across 50 plus projects, us
Mhm.
5 people, and, collecting a lot of photography and video as well that anybody can use. And we got this stuff online, if small businesses are looking to save some money on photography and video, we got assets they can use. You and I were talking offline too recently with that same partnership. We started what's called the Bay of Quinte Film Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the whole point there also is just trying to generate interest and economic activity and spending in this region, but specifically through film and television.
Mhm.
So actually, a couple of minutes before we jumped on this, I was just emailing back and forth with a production company that's bringing a Crave TV show to Quinte West. And they're wondering about overnight parking of their vehicles.
Mhm.
And, it's not a big show, but they're gonna bring probably 30 crew for 4 to 6 days, staying in the hotels, eating at the restaurants. That kind of thing generates tens of thousands of dollars through the course of the year.
Yeah.
You mentioned something like Victor's project. That's the first ever feature film
Yeah.
shot fully locally here, and he did it on a tight budget, but he employed local actors, local crew.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It's a huge investment, and it's an investment into your own community. As far as marketing goes, a feature film such as that is such a good piece of content
Yeah.
that you can refer to, you can talk about, you can look at, get a sense of who is in town, and it's removed from the marketing because it is a piece of art.
Yeah.
Speaks to the people in the area and who is who is here that you can engage with because literally you watch the movie and then you can go and actually meet the people in the movie if you
You
wanted
can
to.
go downtown to Belleville where they shot a bunch of the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like, you've got Stony Lonesome as well, shot locally. That gives you the opportunity to showcase the locations
yeah.
of the pieces. And I saw in your marketing piece that you sent me that you guys are working to get more and more locations set up for.
Yeah, so there's a provincial organization called Ontario Creates that governs film and television, among other things, in the province. So they have this locations database, which they basically use as a marketing engine. They've got an office in LA, they got an office in Ottawa. And so we're trying to build that locations database,
Nice.
going in, photographing, making sure people understand that we have heritage buildings, that
Mhm.
we have vacant schools, vacant hospitals, vacant manufacturing areas that they could use as a backdrop for a project. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's the added benefit that, it shows off the community, like you were talking about with Victor's project. And
Mhm.
sometimes it doesn't, but you still have people staying here and spending money, which is great.
Yeah, it's just like a tour bus for a
Totally.
conference or coming in for a sporting event. I know you guys do a lot of sporting events in town
Yeah.
here. We got the
Yeah.
Senators.
Yeah. And so part of our job is also to do what we can to support bringing in what's called sports tourism. And so, the Sens have 40 plus home games in the course of a year. We work with them on a financial partnership where we, do marketing through them, through their games, through their channels. We partner with them, but we also work to support other sports organizations to bring things in. So, for example, we were part of bringing in the Ontario Soccer National Championships U15 a couple of years ago to Quinte West. We're supporting a provincial gymnastics championship this year. There's multiple OFSA championships coming in this year that we're also supporting. We're working with the new Pickleplex
Why?
because pickleball is
It's huge.
somehow this crazy all the rage sport. And so the Pickleplex wants to do one of the biggest tournaments in the province.
Mhm.
And so they met with us to see if we could support bringing that in. And so, our feeling is if we can work with a sporting organization to provide some funding to help them bring a tournament in that brings in hundreds of athletes who are spending thousands of dollars, we're doing our job and they're helping us to do our job, especially when it's in slower seasons like the winter,
Mhm.
so that we are filling hotel rooms and filling restaurants.
Yeah, because it does, have you got ice fishing here.
There's huts out there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the Bay of Quinte, you've got I know avid ice fishermen and women and
yeah,
people who go out on the lake every year when it's safe, for example. So there's ample wintertime activities in this
yeah,
area, as well as, getting your skates out and doing public skating. I think I saw
totally.
a few public skating announcements where you can go and rent some skates and get out there and do some stuff as well.
And again, there's a lot of investment in infrastructure by
Mhm.
these community governments. Something like the Quinte Sport and Wellness Center, they're getting over 20,000 visits into that place every week.
Yeah.
Every week,
That's a
so
gorgeous
that's a
place.
huge economic generator for a place like this.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous building with a huge pool. I've been there myself. I love it. A lot of pickleball.
Yeah.
Is that where the tournament's gonna be held?
No, so the tournament's gonna be held it's near across from the Quinte Mall is the Pickleplex, and it's
Okay.
pretty much brand new. I think it's 8 courts. Don't quote me on that, but the goal is to bring people in from across the province for a whole weekend to play pickleball.
So there's just such a breadth of stuff that you have to talk about. How are you able to distill it down among your many channels and your many announcements? How are you able to bring it across so that people can actually take in the information without being overwhelmed?
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, right? You gotta make a plan. So, we make a business plan every year that we create as a team. Everybody, reviews their projects and thinks about how they want to approach things for the upcoming year. Then, a lot of it is content driven or
Mhm.
campaign driven. And so, we create a calendar, we create a content calendar. And at the end of the day, we're always meeting with those partners to see what do you want to talk about
Yeah.
versus what are we talking about. And then you get it scheduled.
Mhm.
That's not my job, but like I said, we got a couple of different people in charge of content,
Mhm.
and they sit down and make their monthly content calendar and they get it out there.
Well, it sounds like your job is getting everybody on the same page, getting everybody
Yeah.
outside of the organization to talk to everybody inside of the organization. You're the great bridge. Whenever I go out, I see you talking to everybody, making contact with the partners and the people trying to figure out, man on the street, what are we saying the right thing and using the right voice for, to make those connections.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a big part of my job is the social piece
Mhm.
in a way, especially in terms of getting out and making presentations, making sure people understand who we are and what we do, and being accountable, right?
Mhm.
Again, at the end of the day, these communities that we're partnered with pay us money
Yeah.
so that we can do a job.
Yeah.
And it's my job to make sure that we're doing that in a way that they want us to do, in a way that works, and
Mhm.
to make sure everybody understands it. So every year I go to councils and make presentations about what we were able to do with their funding, and act as a voice to other organizations throughout the region. Because if you're not communicating what you're doing, you know, people don't see everything, like you
Yeah.
were saying, right? There's so much out there. It's easy to miss. But we had a great year this year in terms of being recognized as well. It's not always about things like awards, but it's nice when you can win them. And Trevor Norris, who I mentioned earlier, he was recognized as Tourism Champion of the Year
Nice.
provincially, which was a huge
Wow.
deal. We were able to win an award for travel media photography, also for work in Quinte. Not just in the tourism world, but in the economic development world. And so, it's great to have stats like the overnight accommodations piece I talked
Yeah.
about. It's nice to be recognized too.
Absolutely. And I mean, I had Leah Hamilton on, a local business owner. Benji is going to come on to the Benji's Coffee downtown Belleville, who also creates a mass amount of great content and gets people to engage and talk. They contributed hugely to the Victor Cooper film as well with the model agency that Leah Hamilton has.
Yeah,
And, I know my mother, who's one of the directors at the Belleville Theater Guild, just showcases how much talent that we have in that
yeah.
sphere, that model, acting, writing for film, television, and other content. I'm just wondering, these are the people I know. I want to know what else is in the Bay of Quinte that maybe I don't know. If you could just give me a quick, hey,
Mm.
also, you might wanna check out this spot. I know it really well. That cinema over there in Trenton, coffee raves they have, for example. So there's a lot
I don't even know about that.
there's a lot going on outside of Belleville, and I wanted
Yeah,
you to give me a little help here, a little push as I
sure.
get out of Belleville.
So we actually have a product also for that. So we've been running a campaign for about 5 years now called Best of the Bay.
Ni
And the whole idea is this notion of raising awareness in your own community. And so
Mhm.
if you go to bayquinte.ca/best of the bay, we actually crowned, I think it was 276 winners
Nice.
because there's somewhere between 40 and 60 categories in each one of our 5 communities from, best burger to best spa to best coffee shop, so pretty much anything you're looking for in any of those communities, indoor or outdoor, you can find on Best of the Bay. And what we do is we try and use Best of the Bay as a bit of a content model, through the course of the year, sharing information about those sorts of things so that people know about them. And I mean, the thing is, there are so many new businesses opening
Mhm.
here also.
Mhm.
I'm actually kind of blown away just this year. And I was talking to a counselor in the city of Belleville last week who said he was pretty sure there's never been a year where this many new businesses have opened.
Really?
So I think that's pretty great in terms of where we're headed in the
Mhm.
economic horizon,
Mhm.
especially because it's not as if it's the best business world out there right now, I don't think. But obviously people feel that this is a community where they can succeed.
Yeah.
And to see also the amount of openings in downtown cores.
Mm.
Our downtowns, Brighton, Trenton, Belleville, Napanee, those are really strong downtowns and really great products and some of our biggest assets. You could send anybody to any of those downtowns. They can shop, they can eat, they can be happy,
Yeah.
and they're also beautiful.
Gorgeous.
So we've really got that going for us.
Mhm.
For anybody who's looking for something to do, Best of the Bay is a great spot to start. But even just going and parking in a downtown
Mhm.
and actually getting out of your car and walking a downtown
Yeah,
as
discovering.
opposed to just driving straight through it,
Yeah.
which you don't often do, right? That in and of itself is worth a couple of hours anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I can be said to love the local architecture downtown
Yeah.
Belleville because
Yeah.
of the historical blog that I did for the Bay of Quinte blog.
Yeah.
A little shout out to myself there, but
Love
also
it.
the rest of the Bay of Quinte blog too, but they've got such good historical if you like architecture, you like the vibe of being in a gorgeous downtown. I was talking
Even
to
something like Old East Hill, right?
yes, Old East Hill.
There are these century homes
Mhm.
there's so many up there that are just so beautiful. It's a great landscape and it's something you might never think to do.
Yeah.
But anytime somebody goes up there and does explore,
Rose
they love it and they
Garden,
want to go back.
Glanmore House, the Rose
Mhm.
Garden. I like to go on a self-led Christmas light tour around Old East
Yeah.
Hill. So, it's
It
just so
used to
gorgeous.
be, I don't know if they still do it. It used to be Rotary had, 10 or 12 houses where you'd go in too.
Really
You'd go into the houses and see inside.
gorgeous. Yeah, the houses are preserved, gorgeous, highly suggest just a drive around the area.
Yeah.
Get out of your car, walk around. The fall colors are great.
Yeah.
And, I have so much more to talk to you about, but I know we have to wrap up sooner than later. So I wanted to ask you about what's coming up next. Like,
Mm,
what are you doing for the rest of 2026 and going into 2027? What's the plan?
sure. Yeah, well, right now we're just putting the finishing touches on our new discovery guide. We are preparing for the spring career fair because that's a big part of what we do with Work in Quincy. We'll be getting summer content ready to go
Mhm.
and putting a summer campaign out into the world. Something we're really excited about is last year we did the first ever Bay of Quinte 40 under 40.
Nice.
And so we actually recognized 44 individuals under 40 who were doing great things in the region because there was a tie. But what came out of that in conversation was a couple of things. One, well, if we're recognizing 40 under 40, we should recognize 40 over 40.
Yeah.
So in September, we're working toward the first ever 40 over 40.
Oh, yay.
And the idea is we actually are going to get both groups together and we're going to canvass the community to see what sorts of issues exist that
Mhm.
we could get all these bright minds working on together to
Mhm.
create kind of like a brainstorm activity to try and drive community development
Yeah.
in the region through these awesome people who we have living here. So that's a big one that we're really looking forward to and going to be working toward. And then we're also working on a project to develop new tourism experiences. So driven through workshop and education and specifically trying to come up with outdoor and winter product because
Mhm.
even though there are great things to do, we need more.
Well, I have
And
ideas.
yeah, there you go. Good. And more winter campaigns too to incentivize people to come here at a time like this when travel to a destination like ours just isn't as popular.
Or
Yeah,
not, yeah, or not thought of, or
exactly.
it's just
You
not on
know,
the brain.
people wanna go someplace hot. They're not necessarily thinking of a destination like ours. So how can we incentivize that, to get people to come here either through things like gas cards or creating new winter products?
Yeah, I saw your Get Free Gas
Get free
initiative.
gas campaign, exactly. So that's going on right now. Again, trying to bring people here for multiple nights in the winter. If you book 2 nights, we give you a $50 gas card.
Yep.
Yeah.
So check that out. We're gonna put a
Yeah.
link to that in the show notes below as well. And there's a lot of other reasons to come visit. And I'm really interested to hear more about all the new businesses that are opening here because that's another it's good on the local community and it's good on the tourism community because there are so many more services to enjoy
Yeah.
when you're walking around on all of these beautiful downtown areas.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got some data from a company called Environics about downtown Belleville for 2025. Over 6 million visits to downtown Belleville in 2025.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's obviously a place where people are going.
We got more things opening up down there. You got the big marketplace,
Memorial Marketplace.
and it's right next to the city hall, the historical city hall. So you get that vibe of being in a historical downtown. It's almost like St. Lawrence Market of Belleville.
Yeah, it is. That's what it's meant to be. And, butcher, fishmonger, art galleries, coffee shop,
So come check out the Bay of Quinte, check out the Bay of Quinte marketing website,
bayquinte.ca.
digital map to check it out. And we'd love to have you on again in the future to
Sounds good to me.
get updated on all the stuff that's going on for summer and fall and what's going on in the future.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Really great to have you on, and
You
we'll
bet.
see you next time.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.